Okay, let's continue further. So we'll continue with the remaining topics. We are done with the processing of import module and from module. We'll now start with built-in functions. So till date you have been using many built-in functions, be it mathematical functions or string functions. So I would like to highlight on those functions which we have not used it much in class 11 or the later. So let's check out some of the uncommon mathematical functions like yes, we are familiar with functions like the length. It returns the length of a given string, right? So these are pretty simple, okay? And then we have the function of int, which will convert the integer convertible data into the integer, right? So when I say this, let's say if I have something like this, okay? This particular function will convert 12, and this 12 is a string. So this string 12 will be converted to integer, right? So when I press enter, you will get the integer 12. Now when I say the data should be comparable with integer, which means if you try to do something like this, okay, then it will report an error. Okay, so this is what we meant by the data should be convertible to integer, or it should be comparable with the integer, right? So likewise, I can have another example, say 12.6, right? So when I try to run this, again, I'm not able to, convert this because 12.6, doesn't seem like, it could be converted. But let's try one more. So perhaps, with the 12.6, if you try like this, so again, the 12.6 is not convertible to integer. Okay, so this is just one built-in mathematical function, and then you have the float also. So if you really want to convert 12.6 into float value, even though it's a string, when you press enter, you will see the float value of 12.6. So int float, even though we have used it with input function, but basically these are functions which are used to convert the convertible data either into int or either into float, right? And then you have the str function, okay, which will convert any sort of data into a string. Let's say if I write 12 here, this 12 is an integer literal, right? So the moment I press enter, the integer 12 or integer literal will be converted to a string literal, right? So these are some of the basic mathematical functions which you are partially familiar with. Now let's come up with the mathematical function of sum. Okay, this is little different. So I'll just use this, mute this. The syntax of sum function could be like the iterable, or you can have something like this. The sum of, you have the iterable, or, okay, fine, iterable, and then you have arguments. Okay, so these are the two possible, the argument combination for the sum, right? So what I mean by this is iterable means it should be a sequence data type. Sequence data type means it could be a list or it could be a tuple, where the individual elements could be accessed one by one. We actually call it as iterable, okay, walkable. So now let's say we'll try to use the sum function here. So let's say you have sum here, and then if you try something like this, it will not work. The reason is it should follow either of these two, the syntax or the structure. Okay, so like I said, these are not iterable. 1, 2, 3, these are integer values, integer data type. These are not either tuple or list, right? So you need to have something like this. Either, okay, you need to have the argument in the form of list, which is iterable. It will not work, right? So when you press enter, you get the correct answer as 6. Okay, so if you want to use this particular format, then perhaps you can have something like this. Say 1, 2, 3, and then you can specify 4. Right? So just look at this. Now this is iterable. This is a list. List is an iterable, and then you have the argument, the value directly. Right? So when you press enter, you will get the correct answer of 10. So the idea is, do not add elements directly like this, because 1, 2, 3 are the arguments, okay, or the values. These are not iterable at all. You have 3 integer arguments, okay. So the sum built-in function doesn't support like this. It needs to be either, the argument needs to be either iterable, or if you want to combine it, use an iterable one along with the arguments one. Or if you try this, let's say we have 1, 2, and then again 3, 4. Let's try 2 iterable, right? So again, it comes out with an error. The reason is, it doesn't follow, the rules or the regulation. It has to be just one iterable, and then if you want to combine 2 arguments, one got to be the iterable, the other one could be the arguments, right? So it's simple, straightforward. And then the next up is you have the max. In the max, you can have iterable like this, okay? You can have 2 iterables, or you can have just the arguments like this, all right? So in this particular case, you can have multiple iterable or multiple arguments. So you need to be able to clearly differentiate between the two. It's little tricky. So let's say the max function will return the maximum values, right? So you have the max, and then if you try 1, 2, 3, and then when you press enter, you get the correct answer. So which means we are following the second rule. You can have multiple arguments values directly, right? But if you want to use the first one, then perhaps max, and then we'll use the tuple, right? We'll use the tuple like this, 1, 2, 3. Okay, look at this. Now this is the tuple, right? So when you press enter, again it works just fine, right? So perhaps you can have multiple the iterable, unlike in sum. Say 1, 2, 3, right? And then let's say I have 0, and then I have 1, right? And then let's close it. Now when you press enter, I'll get another 1, 2, 3. So whenever you have multiple the iterable, the first value will be compared against each other. Okay, so when you want to compare this and this, the first value of the list will be compared against each other. Alright, so the first value of the elements of the list will be compared, and the maximum value of that particular list will be returned. Alright, so you need to know this. So these are some of the functions which we have not used till date, but it's important to know, right? Even though it's simple. And then perhaps you can have the min instead of max. The syntax or the format will be exactly the same. And then you also have this octal mathematical function, which is used to convert a decimal number system into octal. Octal number, if you could recall correctly, from class 11 curriculum, it starts from 0 to 7. It should have 8 digits, right? So if I want to convert decimal 8 to octal 8, the octal equivalent has to be 10. So the number will be always returned in the form of string. Okay, so you have 0 and then O, which indicates the number to be of octal numbering system, right? And then likewise, if I want to convert a decimal number into hex, I can use the built-in function, right? So I don't have a decimal number like 16. Remember? Okay, it starts from 0 and it finishes at 15. 15 means F. But if I want to convert 16 into decimal numbers, hexadecimal number system, I think it has to be 10, right? So there you go, I get the answer is 10. So again, this X represents hexadecimal number system, O stands for octal, and then you have 0. But remember, the type of data as a result of oct and hex will always be in the form of string. So these are the some of the functions, which you need to know. And then you have the round mathematical function, right? This is used to round up the decimal numbers. Okay, so let's say if I have 1.23, and then if I do not specify the second argument, they will be rounded off to the 0 decimal places. You will not have any decimal places, right? However, if I have something like this, round of 1.23, and then if I write 1 comma, there will be 1 decimal place. So which means the answer will be 1.23. Alright? So these are simple mathematics, but you need to take note of these, the built-in functions. Right? So these are some of the built-in mathematical function. Now let's move on to some of the, in fact, 3 of the string-based or string iterator-based functions. The first one is the join. All right. So the example of join could be something like this. Let's say I have asterisk here, and then I write join. All right. And then I have the Python. Okay, so when I press enter, what happens is this character will be joined after each character of the string. Alright, you could see here this particular character asterisk will be joined after each character of the enclosed string. So after each characters, you will have this particular character joined, right? And then, you could also have another example, say dot join. I can have list as the data type. Let's say I have I, okay, and then I love, let's say Python, okay, something like this. Now when I press enter, what happens here is the individual element. Now again, the elements of the list should be string iterable. It should be based on string iteration, right? So this time, now after each element of the list, this particular character will be joined. If it's a string, the individual characters. If it's a list or a tuple, the individual element, right? But you cannot have a different data type. For example, if you have something like this, let's see if I can copy and paste it. Okay, there you go. If I have a data type of integer, right? And then if you try this, it will not work. Now this is the exception, right? Doesn't work. Okay, fine. Now when I press enter, it doesn't work. Even though this can have different data types, but the moment you use join with list of different elements type, it will not work with join, right? So I'll come up with couple of programs which will give us even a better idea on the usage of these functions. Right? So the next up is the split. Let's say I have, say, hello there, okay, and then I want to use this function of split, and then, okay, I want to split the string based on this particular character of E. So with the execution of split, the function, you will get a list. Okay, so the list elements will be separated based on the split character of E. So when you press enter, there you go, I get to see few elements like H, this, but this particular character which is used for splitting will not be a part of the returned list. It will disappear. Okay, so based on the character of E, the hello there will be split, and the individual part will be converted to the elements of list. Okay, you should know this. And then if I do not specify, let's say if I just copy this and paste it here, and then I have here, if I do not specify any argument, all right, if I do not specify any argument, then the splitting will take place based on the space. So when I press enter, the space that you have will disappear. Okay, so the splitting will take place on the space, or you could explicitly specify the space character enclosed in a pair of either single quotes or double quotes, right? So even if you do not specify, the splitting will take place based on the space character. If you want to explicitly specify, you need to have space specified in a pair of single quotes or double quotes, right? So it's simple. And then the next up is the replace. Now these are not the usual functions that we have used. The replace will be something like this. Let's say I love C++. Okay, that was the case last year, and I want to run this function replace. All right, C++ with Python. Okay, so these are pretty simple. And then when I press enter, there you go. This is the main string. I would like to replace C++ in the main string with the Python, as a result of which I love C++ will now be converted to I love Python. Okay, so now that you have a fair idea about how these functions work, now let's try to write programs for 2 questions. Okay, so we'll just go up. Okay, the first question is write a program that inputs a main string and then creates encrypted, I'll read it for you, encrypted string by embedding a short symbol based string after each character. The program should also be able to produce the decrypted string, okay, as well as the encrypted string. So the program is asking us to encode a string. I'm sure you must have seen this, the moment you try to message a new user. They come up with a message like end-to-end encryption, end-to-end decryption, which means nobody will be able to, read the messages in between. So from my side, the message will be totally encrypted. Okay, it travels in an encrypted manner. Even if somebody wants to see it, they will see it in the form of encryption. Okay, they won't get any messages as such. And then at the intended user's end, the decryption will take place. So that's what you mean by end-to-end encryption and decryption. So something similar to this. Now let's say I'll come up with a program, all right? Say, let's come up with the main part of the program. Main str is equal to, let's say this is my password, okay? Python, all right? And then the key that I want to use for encryption, let's say will be encrypt, okay, key, all right? The encrypt key will be something like asterisk, all right, asterisk, and then the person, what happened? Okay, right here, I'll use the string, right, and then asterisk followed by a percent sign, okay? And now let's call the function. The name of the function is let's make a call to the function, and then I'll just write here nstr equals, the name of the function is encrypt, and then we'll send 2 arguments. The first one is main str, and then the second argument is encrypt key, okay? Right, now let's go up and then define the function. Def, the name of the function is encrypt, all right, encrypt. I hope I got the spelling right. And then the main str will be received in sstr, and then I'll use n key to receive the encryption key, right? So in order to encrypt, okay, the program says I need to attach that encryption key at the end of every characters of the main str. So which means we'll have to use the function of the join, right? So perhaps I could do this straight away. Return n key dot join, okay, and then I have the SSTR, right? So the value of n key is the asterisk present, right? So this, the value of n key being asterisk present, will be attached or will be joined, at the end of each characters of SSTR, whose value is Python. So at the right after P you will have this, right after Y you will have percent symbol. So it's a kind of encryption. You're trying to make the main str little unrecognizable, right? Even though that's not the real way to do it, but in order to understand the usage of the join function better, we are coming up with this program, right? So the whole thing will be returned, and then right here I have the print, and then I'll try to print the value of NSTR, right? So I'll just write here, NSTR, okay? Now it's time to decrypt, okay? It's encrypted now, it's now time to decrypt. Now for this, again, I'll have dlist. I'll tell you the reason. Dlist equals, let's call the function of decrypt, okay? And then I sent two functions again, okay? I need to send two functions. Now again, this will be main str will be as it is. This has to be nstr. Now this is the encrypted. Once I have encrypted, I've received the encrypted string in NSTR. So I need to send this up, and then along with NSTR, I'll send the encrypt key, right? So I'll write here encrypt and then key. Okay? I call upon the decrypt function. It's now time to define the function of decrypt, right? Come a little lower down, and then the name of the function is decrypt, and then let's receive it as SSTR, and then you have, oops, what happened? Okay, and then you have the N key, right? Okay, there you go. Now the first things first, this SSTR will have the encrypted Python, right? I now need to split it. I now need to split based on the encrypted key. Remember, remember this. Just take a look at this. This character is used to split. While splitting, this character will disappear from the main str. This is exactly what we want. So let's use the function. Say s1 is equal to. So in order to use the split function, I first need to specify the main str, and then, as is the case here, hello there dot split. So I need to specify the main str first, and then you have this split, all right? And then the character which is used for splitting is stored in n key. Okay, so till this point, I'll get a list called s1 in which I'll have Python, okay, in the form of list. But you will not see, the encrypted characters, the encrypt, the key which is used for encrypting. All right. So till this point, I'll get the list. Now, once I get the list, I now need to join it. Okay. I now need to join it. Okay. So for this, what I do is I have s2 equals, and then okay, I now need to have, the space. Okay, I don't need the space also. So let's say dot, and then I have the join, all right, and then I'll specify the s1. So this s1 is a list. Okay, s1 is a list, and the elements of the list will be joined using no space. There won't be any space as such because I don't have any spaces, right? So, and then finally I'll return s2, 2. Okay, so I guess that's the end of the program, and then let's see whether it runs correctly or not. Okay, so decrypt. Okay, so once I'm done with this, and then I'll just print it. Okay, print, and then you have dlist. Okay, or I can just change it to, just keep it simple. Yeah, dstr, and then you have dstr. All right. So let's check whether the program runs correctly or not. Okay, encrypt key is not defined. So the mistake that I've made is with the spelling, I guess. Okay, where is it? Okay, I'll just go up and check. 1 second. Okay, this is better. Okay, encrypt key, I got the spelling right here. Okay, encrypt, and then up there. Okay, there you go. Okay, I got it wrong here. Okay, so this has to be encrypt. Okay, so I think this is where I made the mistake. Let's see. Okay, or encrypt. Okay, so let's run the program and check whether it runs correctly. Okay, there you go. So as you can see, the output, I got the spelling wrong, so sorry for that. Okay, so now as a matter of quick explanation, initially what I did was, I call upon this function encrypt. Okay, Python goes into SSTR, asterisk % goes up, and then using the join, Python will be attached or joined with asterisk and symbol, and then once it returns, I try to print it. I get this. Okay, this is supposed to be the encrypted or the encoded, and then I call upon this function, and then what happens here is this encrypted string which is stored in NSTR is sent to SSTR, and this will remain just the same, and then this whole thing which is stored in SSTR will be split based on the the asterisk, this, and then as a result of which, you will have a list in which the elements will be PYTHON, devoid of the encrypted key, which is asterisk and %. And then finally, I would like to join the elements of the list, which is PYTHON without any spaces, right? And then I get the Python back, okay, and I return it. The D encrypted, okay, will be Python. Okay, so this is the original, and then I encrypt it, and then this is how I decrypt it, right? So the program, it's pretty simple. Now let's move on to the next one. The next question is, just get rid of this, okay. The next question is, write a program having following functions. Write a program having following functions. The first one is remove letter. This function should take a string and letter as argument. Okay, letter as argument, and then we'll just make the still cannot see it. Okay, this is better. Okay, so look at this. Let's come up with the function of remove letters. This function should take a string and a letter as arguments, returning a copy of that string with every instances of indicated letter removed. It's simple, right? So if I have, which I've done it already, hello there, and then if I have the argument as E, I should be able to receive, hello there without that particular character of E. There's no harm in doing it. We'll just do it real quick. Now let's say def, and then remove letter is the name of the function, and then we'll do this real quick. SSSTR and then ch, all right? And then in SSTR, we have the main string, hello there, and then I want to get rid of E, all right? So S1 equals, first things first, we need to split it, okay? We need to split it. So for that, SSTR dot split, and then I specify ch. The program should not stop here because S1 is in the form of list. So I cannot just give the list back to the user. I need to have it converted to a string, right? So for this, S2 equals S1. Sorry, you will have a space perhaps. Now this time I would like to have space. The reason is I want to have hello separated by a space with there. So in between hello and there, or I love Python, in between you have spaces. So I would like to join the individual, the characters or the elements with the spaces. All right. So okay. So once I'm done with this, I need to have join, and then join with what? You have the S1. Okay, and then you have return S2. So let's go to the main part of the program. Main str equals I love. Okay, sorry. Let's say I want to get rid of this hello there. All right, and then let's call ch equal E. I want to get rid of E, and then I call the function of remove letter, right? So I'll just have S3 equals remove letter, and I set main str followed by the ch, okay? And then finally I'll print S3. Okay, let's check when the program runs. Hopefully it runs. Okay, there you go. Okay, what you see here is, perhaps, you can, just get rid of this. You don't need the space as such. Okay, say F5, right? So there you go. The hello there, is the main string, and then E is the character which is used for splitting, and then up it goes, and then it splits based on this, as a result of which, it's a good idea if you could just see this, see the content of S1. Okay, it will help us to understand the program better. See, you could see here the hello there. After splitting takes place, I try to check how S1 looks. All the parts of the string, the main string, will form the elements of the list, but of course without the splitting characters, right? And then finally, I join all four elements, with no spaces. Okay, there are no spaces as such, but this space, will be retained. So, you will get the hello there without the E, right? I hope you are okay with this. Now let's go and finally do the last program. It should be pretty simple. Okay, where is it? Okay, try implementing the cat words function using other function. Good. So this is again a built-in function, right? So we just try to check. Say I have here, I think I need to import this. Let's say string, and then string dot cat words. And I have here, let's say I love Python. Okay, let's see what happens. Now when I press enter, this is a built-in function which is used to capitalize the individual words. So the first character of all the words will be converted to the capital letter or uppercase. So this is accomplished by using the built-in function of cap words. Alright. So the question says we need to do it, but without using the function of built-in the cap words. So which means we'll have to take the help of functions like the join, the split, and then you have the capitalize. Capitalize works like this. let's say I have something like this, say Tibet dot capitalize, okay, and then when I press enter, there you go, the first letter. This is different from cap words, right? You know, if I could just show you again, let's say I love Python is a good example. I love Python, and then I have here capitalize, okay? So when I run this, the difference between the cap words and the capitalize is, you know, the capitalize will just convert the first character of the sentence, okay, or the string. But cap words will convert the first character of all the words. So the question is, we need to accomplish this, okay? We need to accomplish this using other functions. Other functions could involve, the first one is join, second one is split, and then you have the capitalize, okay? So let's do it. So let's maximize the screen. Okay, so we'll first get to the main part of the program. Main str equals, okay, I love Python. Okay, so this is the main str, and then I'll now call upon the function. The name of the function perhaps could be cap each words, right? So I'll have here s1 equals, the name of the function is cap each words. Now this is the user-defined function, right? And then I send the main str like this, and then I'll try to print s1, okay? Now let's go up and define the function for this particular function of cap each words. So def cap each words, and then let's receive it as SSTR, okay? Okay, you have SSTR. Now once I'm done with this, the first thing that I need to do is I need to split the words, okay? I need to split the words based on the spaces. Remember, the idea of the program is to convert, you know, the first letter of every words, and the words are separated by space. Okay, so first things first, you know, I'll have let's just use this as S. Okay, so the first step is S1 equals, let's split, and the splitting should take place based on the space, remember, okay? So this is how you should do it. The SSTR, this is the main string, and then you have split. And then why don't you either specify a space, or even if you do not specify anything, the splitting of I love Python will take place based on a space. Okay, I hope you got this. Now once I split it, I have the string I love Python in the form of list. Okay, the elements being I is the first element, love is the second element, Python is the third element of the list of S1, right? Now the next step is I now need to focus on the individual elements one by one, and then have the first character converted into uppercase, right? So let's run a for loop. For I in range of length of S1. Okay, so may I know the length of S1? S1 is a list, remember, and it should have three elements, first, second, and third, right? So the value of length of S1 is 3. So for I in range of 3 means the value of I will start with 0, 1, and then it will stop at 2, right? Now the question is, how do I change the first character of the first element? Okay, how do you do this? So can I say like S1.I? Okay, so what do you mean by this? S1 of I means, you know, you are referring to S1 of 0. You are referring to this I. Okay, you are referring to this I, right? So I want to have the first letter or the first character converted, but I would use the function of capitalize. Okay, you have other ways to do it, but just try to make the program simple. So this will be like S1 I, and then use the function of capitalize. Make sure that you get the spelling right. Okay, so initially the value of I will be 0, right? So S1 of 0 means you're pointing to the first element. Okay, so the first element, when you run this, the first character, which is I, will be converted to big I, and that will become the new value of the first element of the list. Since list is mutable, the change will take place then and there. Okay, so when I is done, it will go for the next value of I. The next value of I is 1. S1 of 1 means you're pointing to love, L-O-V-E. So L-O-V-E dot capitalize means the first character will be converted to a big L, and big L will take the place of small l. So same thing happens with Python. So once you run this, you will have a list, okay, with I love Python, but the difference is you will see the initial characters converted to capital, right? So the final step is it's now time to join. It's now time to join the parts of the list back, right? So for this, I'll have S2 equals, how do you join it? I need to use a space, okay, because I need spaces between the individual elements of the list. So this is important. And then you have the join, and then finally you have the S1, right? So with this, I have, with the end of the for loop, I have a list in which the elements first character would be already converted to the uppercase. And then with this, the elements of the list will be joined together, but in between you will have spaces. So this is exactly what I'm looking for, right? And then finally, you will return S2, okay? S2, and then this will be S, right? So now let's run the program and check whether we get the correct output or not. Okay, let's say F5. Okay, there you go. The initial value of main.str, which is I love Python, will now be converted to I love Python, with ILP being converted to uppercase without using the function of cap words, right? So these two questions, the first and the second one has two sub questions, right? These are the kind of programs which will make you feel a little better over the application of the built-in functions like join, split, and then you have the replace, right? So with this, I would like to wind up. And then in the next class, we'll continue further into the current chapter of Python libraries. I hope you have understood, but just in case if you face difficulty in understanding the video, watch it again and again, and then along with, I'll be providing the link for the notes, go through the notes, right? So please take care, and thank you so much.